Shautsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York, and today we're going to have our live to discuss the most interesting, freshest immigration news. I'm going to talk about what important things you need to pay attention to if you win the lottery, because the results are in. I will discuss the latest scandalous Florida immigration bill, and I will also share with you the most recent USCIS news. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining. Let me know where you're watching from. Don't forget to say hello in our chat and type up your questions. So in the end, I can go back and answer some of your questions for free, which I'm sure is helpful. So let's start. I see more and more people joining us. Hi, Ali. Hi, Happy Prince. Do not forget to like and share this stream so more people will be able to join us. I hope you're actually having a good day. I'm sure my day is okay for Monday. So let's see, what do we have on stock? Why don't we start with the Divi lottery news? Now is the time for you to check if you won your Divi lottery, if you played for the next season or you haven't. And if you were selected, there are a few points that you need to remember. You have to remember that not everyone who is in the United States will be able to collect on that lottery or will be able to turn it into a green card. There are certain restrictions that apply to adjustment of status for those who are trying to do it based on the Divi lottery. But if you are overseas, or perhaps you could travel overseas, then you may have better chances in certain situations to get that Divi lottery visa. Of course, many of you may be scared because you may remember fiasco with Divi lotteries that happened during the pandemic. But now the pandemic is officially over, so they should not have any excuses not to issue you one Divi lottery. Usually the problem arises when you cannot have your immigrant visa interview fast enough. But honestly, that happened only during the pandemic. From what I've seen in the past, if your numbers were current, if your numbers were low enough, you always would have a Divi lottery immigrant visa appointment at a consulate. But let's see if what route would make sense for you. So if you are in the United States and you want the Divi lottery, what you need to know is that to get a green card based on that, in absolute majority of the situations, you will have to show that you have been in lawful non-immigrant status from the time of your entry until the time you can file for adjustment of status. And you can file for adjustment of status based on the Divi lottery only if your numbers are current. So if your numbers are early enough, if they're young numbers, small numbers, you should be okay. And this route predominantly will be for those who have been here in the United States in F1 student status, H1B, perhaps E visa, non-immigrant status. But most of you who overstayed will not be able to adjust status in the United States unless you also may qualify for 245I exception. But I doubt that there will be many people like that. What may happen is this, however. If you overstayed your F1, M1, J1 visas in the United States and never tried to do anything about it, never filed for, let's say, tourist status, and you simply have that duration of status overstay, you have not accumulated unlawful presence time. Or perhaps you filed for your asylum application early enough and you did not accumulate more than 180 days of unlawful presence time in the United States, because duly filed asylum application stops the unlawful presence time. Then, after you consult with an attorney, you may try to choose consulate route. Here, of course, there are certain issues, may arise certain issues, especially for those of you who filed for asylum, because As a rule, DV lotteries have to be collected in the country of your origin. But nowadays, many countries, well, not many, but some countries with a lot of citizens do not process any type of visas, like Russia, for example, do not process any type of visas in that country because the consulate is not working. So it means that you may have a chance of actually traveling overseas if you're in this particular situation. You overstayed or you filed for asylum, you don't have unlawful presence time, and you may be able to collect the DV lottery overseas. Of course, if your status allows you, try to secure advance parole prior to leaving. But it may be a solution for some of you. Of course, not without risks, but nevertheless. And for those of you who are just simply overseas and you want DV lottery, which you need to remember is this. Once you're going to be processing your DV lottery, make sure that you present the most accurate information possible. You do not make any mistakes in your address history, in the history of your family. Time after time, I meet people who made mistakes during the entry, such as they did not put in the entry all of their stepchildren or biological children if they don't reside with them and in fact started residing with their other spouse after the divorce. Or another common mistake is that when you guys have some criminal history and you do not consult with a lawyer prior to submitting DS-260 immigrant visa application, sometimes criminal history from your home country will be small enough not to present any problems for you in your home country, but it will be significant enough for you to be deprived of the immigrant visa when you're coming to the United States. I would say there are two major points. And of course, there are other smaller points to remember, but for that, you should consult with a lawyer. It's worth it, even if you believe that the lawyers in the United States charge a lot of money for a consultation. Trust me, you're better off consulting with a professional attorney who will help you to answer questions correctly, resolve some doubts about how to answer questions, rather than losing your chance for an immigrant visa in the United States. So check your status. Let me know if you want. Another interesting news is that USCIS now stated that if you win your case in the immigration court, let's say asylum or green card, you will no longer be forced to first make appointments with USCIS to collect that I-94 card, proof of your now legal status in the United States, or to collect that green card itself, and rather they will affirmatively send it to you. However, during this period of this innovation, you still are encouraged to call USCIS and make those appointments. So what's happening? Basically, USCIS is trying to do the right thing. If you're in immigration court fighting for your case, and if you're filed for asylum or adjustment of status, and you win your case, what proof of your status are you going to have except for the judge's order? None, unless you get it from USCIS. Procedures as to how to get it have been changing over the time. Within the past 15 years, I've seen different things happening. But finally, USCIS stated that they're going to do the right thing. Basically, it's going to be on the court or Board of Immigration Appeals to let USCIS know that now you have status, and they will automatically send you by mail proof of your status. But that has not been working out so far. So far, to get the proof of status, you would have to first call USCIS customer service. The customer service people would have to call you back, set up an appointment for you to show up at USCIS field office with your passport style photos and proof of your status, judge's decision, the only proof that you would have, and only after that, they would give you the proof, affirmative proof from USCIS that now you're either a permanent resident or you're an asylee. So USCIS announced that it's going to be automatic. We truthfully hope so, but for now, I instruct every of my client to affirmatively seek USCIS appointment to make sure that they're not going to miss that proof of status. It's very, very important. All right. So these are news that I wanted to share with you, pieces of news I wanted to share with you from USCIS and from Department of State. But we have something else to discuss. This is this terrible Florida bill that concerns immigrants. I've mentioned it before in my videos, and now it seems that Florida is just rolling with it, and perhaps it even will become law, at least in the state of Florida, at least for a while. I anticipate a big lawsuit coming in and the bill will be stopped, but so far it looks just terrible. Basically, Florida passes legislation that will prevent immigrants, those who do not have lawful status in the United States, from driving cars. Or, in other words, if you have a driver's license issued, like in New York, for example, and you do not have this real ID verification on it, your driver's license will be considered not valid in the state of Florida, and you will be found to be driving without license. Interestingly enough, once I read this bill, it seems it's going to apply even to citizens who are coming to visit Florida but never bothered on receiving that real ID driver's license. Like me, for example. I never did that because I just don't have time to sit in the DMV for hours and hours. The bill also says that if you're going to be knowingly transporting somebody who doesn't have lawful immigrant status across the state lines, you will be committing a crime, smuggling. So imagine you have a friend and you know that this friend lapsed their status and you are driving with them from North Carolina to Florida. Now it seems under the law of this bill, you're going to be held as a criminal. Another interesting provision in this bill is that employers of 25 of employees more than 25 will have to use e-verify system to verify employment eligibility of their employees. And in case of non-compliance, they will be stripped of their licenses, let's say construction companies, right? This particularly targets, I think, construction companies and also exposed to very large fines, monetary fines. Subcontractors now, if you're a company that has dealings with the government operating in the state of Florida and you would like to subcontract somebody, you will have to check their, not now, but if the bill becomes the law, you will have to check employment eligibility of those subcontractors. And finally, hospitals will also have to collect information on your immigration status. Those hospitals that collect Medicaid, well, every hospital pretty much does that. So this is the bill that is targeting immigrants, obviously is very discriminatory. It's more restrictive by far than any federal regulation. I anticipate this bill to be squashed, killed, but we do not know what's going to happen. For now, you have to be aware of that, and we'll see what's going to happen, basically. I think it's absolutely crazy, but the legislature did pass it. And interestingly enough, Florida is a state of immigrants. There is a large immigrant community in there. So I'm not really sure what exactly is going to happen with that particular piece of work. And now, guys, if you would like to, I'll be happy to answer some of you guys' questions. Hi, Ali. Booking news for undocumented immigration plan. Oh, there is a plan that I just shared with you in Florida, but it's not the plan that we're all hoping for. Not the plan we're hoping for. So far, nothing positive. Basically, we do have some incoming, I would say, for immigrants, negative changes coming to the border, but no affirmative action so far. Hi, Caesar. Hi, Assad. Nice to see you. Hi, baby. A Nigerian, am I qualified for his US lottery? I do not know. Every year, the United States government is publishing instructions for the DV lottery entrance and mentions citizens or nationals rather, of which countries will be disqualified. So as soon as new entry period starts, you will have to check on the instructions. Currently, what's happening is that we were discussing not new entries for the DV lottery, but news for those who already played, entered the information, and now starting May 6th, you can just check if you won or not, and what you're going to do, what your plan, what your game is going to be afterwards. Hi up top, hi I'm Ron. Hi, True Wisdom. My I-130 through my citizen daughters in USCIS from December 22 says, under review. I live in Mexico. Do you know how long it takes to get approval? I honestly would not know how long it's going to take. If it's December 2022, we're in May. So I would hope that soon you're going to get good news. Usually, I-130s for parents do not take more than 9 months in my practice, at least. Hi, below. How can I check if I'm eligible? Well, if you've never played for DV lottery, as I explained before, you will have to wait for the new period's instructions. But if you have, at the beginning of this video, I shared a screenshot of the DV lottery website where you can check if you were selected or not by your confirmation. I hope you saved your confirmation number. Yes, Caesar. Hi, Shiro. Yes. Hi, Ali. Hi, guys. Hi, Rana. I want to come to America. Can you help? I wish I could help each and every one of you, those who would like to come to the United States. On my website, I do share various ways one can come to the United States legally. Usually those ways would be through employment, through family member, through investment, DV lottery, for example. Ways to come to the United States are very, very limited. Legal ways, of course. Nowadays, actually, there is one more way. This is through CBP One app. This is going to work for those of you who are going to seek asylum in the United States. But remember, starting May 12th, new measures are going to be implemented at the border. On my Facebook page, I shared my latest blog explaining those measures. If during the time of Title 42, if you register with the CBP One app, you pretty much can be assured that you will be allowed into the United States, and then you will be placed in regular removal proceedings without the detention to seek asylum. Now, what's going to happen is that you will have to, if you don't use CBP One app, face expedited removal when you have to first pass credible fear interview. If you're using CBP One app, you still may be denied entry. If, for example, you previously were removed from the United States, you tried to come before and you had a failed attempt for some reason, you didn't pass the background checks. So there is a lot going on. And as you can imagine, in the United States, current administration, in attempts to try to negotiate with the Republicans, is going to tighten the ways one can come to the United States, including legal ways. Okay, including legal ways. Hi, Mohi. Any job. Many of you are asking about the job opportunities in the United States. Well, I'm going to tell you that immigration lawyers, as a rule, do not connect you with employers. I know some do, but majority of immigration lawyers will not do that. It's just not what we do. We do help you once you find an employer to go through the process of labor certification. For absolute majority of employment opportunities in the United States, you will have to pass a very serious test as to whether or not an employer could find a worker in the United States to work for the position they would like to hire you. But there are sometimes ways to sponsor yourself without that test. This would be EB2 National Interest Waiver and EB1 Extraordinary Ability employment visa. You will have to meet high standards, but I know, because there are almost 700,000 of you, my followers, that some of you will meet that criteria. Some of you, those criteria, you will meet those standards. For EB2, you have to show that you have an advanced degree, or you're a person of exceptional ability. You're well positioned to advance the economy industry of the United States, and it will be national interest of the United States to issue that immigrant visa for you. For extraordinary ability visa, you have to show that you're somebody who achieved national, international acclaim. It's perfect for athletes, talented business people, performers. So you really, really have to look into it. This is the way to sponsor yourself for a green card in the United States. And you do not have to be in the United States for that. The petition process can be filed for you while you're outside of the United States. EB2 National Interest Waiver and EB1 Alien of Extraordinary Abilities. So I encourage you all to look into those opportunities. If you do not have an employer, but you have a good career and you know that you have skills to share, can be something for you. Well, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please do not forget to like and share this stream. As soon as we have updates with regard to the most interesting and new immigration news, I will share those updates with you. I hope you all are doing well.